Hello, happy Sunday fun day. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here, joined by the two beautiful roses, Jared Smith,
Oh,
Jim Monis. You guys, I'm still coming down from that loss that Michigan had and then the
oh,
loss
Lauren.
yesterday that Notre Dame had. So hopefully,
Oh yeah, you had it doubly bad.
I know, hopefully NFL Week
Yikes.
17 treats me a little bit better. But before we get started, Jared, I just want to get your thoughts on some of the college football playoff games that we saw, and
Sure.
then a few of the big bowl games yesterday, including Matt Corral going down with what we think is an ankle sprain. I guess your full take on everything that you've seen the last couple of days.
Yeah, the SEC is king. And
Yeah,
I know that they maybe didn't prepare or care about some of those other bowl games, but
yeah,
when the lights are brightest, that conference continues to show you how talented they are. Georgia is really good. We kind of forgot how good Georgia was because they played their last game was against like Georgia Tech, and then they had some other, not very important games towards the end of the regular season, and then they got blasted by Bama, and then they didn't play for a month.
yeah.
So I think the public kind of forgot how good they were, and they were very heavy on Michigan. That didn't go so well. And then in the first game, Cincinnati. I don't want to say they didn't deserve to be there because they had a great season.
Yeah.
But man, I would have been very curious to see if there was any team out there that could give Bama a game. I joked that maybe if you combine Notre Dame and Cincinnati's roster together and created like a super roster, maybe they could give Bama a game. But Bama, again, in the big spots with extra time to prepare, Saban's group and his coaching staff was just, they were ready for everything Cincinnati did offensively. And they did just, Bryce Young wasn't great and their offense wasn't, spectacular, but they did just
Mhm.
enough to really pull away. And it's going to be a fun rematch in the title game, that's for sure.
It will be a fun rematch. I don't know, Jim. What are your takeaways? I guess from yesterday and the day before too. Same college football playoffs and all of the college
Oh,
games from yesterday.
yesterday made up for Friday. Friday was really disappointing to me.
It
Like,
was. It
yeah,
was disappointing.
yeah, because it's like you're geared up. It's New Year's Eve. It's
I
Final
know.
Four in football, and it's like let's have a great time watching. I just love good games. Those games weren't watchable to me on Friday. You could tell right away
Yeah.
who was, like you said, you could just tell right away. Yesterday, though, that was some pretty good action.
Yeah,
That was
there
That
was
that was
Iowa
some.
Kentucky game was fun. Penn State was the disappointing game of the day.
Hey,
I,
Jared.
I,
Jared, you put
Sorry,
yourself. You
Jared.
know what though, Jared? You put yourself out there,
I did.
and you know what? We all have, right?
I
We
got
all.
hurt by Sean Clifford yesterday really
But
bad.
but
I'm
that's the
sorry
best
about
part when
it.
it's the first game of the day. You can
It
make you
was
have the rest of the
not
day
only
to get.
that, it was the first game of the whole year. Like,
Yeah, the
like
whole
the
year.
first game of the whole year was like just a screw you, Jared. No, honestly, Lauren, I took a page out of your book yesterday. I definitely bet with my heart with Sean Clifford. And just overall, that Penn State game was tough. But I will say this: the Big Ten. I know they didn't have the best of results over the last couple of days, but man, that conference is tough. And
Yeah,
and they don't have they don't have as good of players in the SEC, but they compete with those teams every year.
every
Iowa
year.
does not have as good of players as Kentucky. Period. End of story. But they competed in that game. And Georgia and Michigan, I won't get into it too much. But hey, Purdue beat
Um,
Tennessee.
Lauren.
Purdue beat Tennessee, so there's the Big Ten's, saving grace.
Barely.
And
Purdue
and
barely beat Tennessee.
I've got to give, and I know you're not going to like it, Lauren, but we've got to give a shout out to Ohio State. C.J. Stroud's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's my Heisman favorite today. We'll see what happens over the summer, and then we'll see when the odds get
After
posted.
being
But
down 10 at half to be able to come back and win that game the way that they did, it was
and,
pretty incredible.
we were saying yesterday that Penn State's wide receiving core without Jahan Dotson was deep, and they showed that they were deep. Ohio State's wide receiving core is even deeper without Olave and Wilson to have Jackson Smith and Jigba and then Marvin Harrison Jr. show up like that. There's a lot of talent in the Big Ten, and I know the SEC wins all the big games, but man, there's a lot of talent, a lot of heart in the Big Ten. So it was a fun weekend, even though Big Ten results weren't.
Oh, it was a fun weekend, except for New Year's Eve, you guys. I was sitting there, and now that I live in Georgia country,
Oh, you were
Oh,
right in the Dominique
yeah, I
Wilkins.
was watching.
did you get
I was
any
watching the
comments?
second half with a lot of Georgia fans.
Oh
So
no.
much so that I walked in and all I saw was red. And I'm
Oy.
just like, oh, I gotta get out of here. This is brutal. But it's okay. You know what? Better things coming in 2022, including week 17 of NFL, because we got a lot of games on the slate today. Fingers crossed that that the betting goes a little bit better to start off the new year than it did yesterday. That's all I got to say about that. We have NFL games, Pickswise Q&A. Make sure you're asking your questions, telling us about your bets, because we want to have a full-on conversation with you Let you know about our bets as well. And then we get in with our Pickswise 3-star play of the day and our best bets of the day. So without further ado, my friends, let's get into it. Let's bet it. Let's start. Chicago, the Windy City. Giants taking on the Bears tonight. The spread 6. Jim, I know you're on this one. Who you got?
I can't believe I'm doing this game. I'm on the Bears.
Y'all are
I'm
nuts.
also with you on this. So
Okay, Lauren, I appreciate you are showing a side of yourself that be very careful because it takes a deep, you have to be deeply depressed to bet on a game like this.
Y'all are
Yeah.
nuts.
Yes,
I'm
I agree with
depressed.
Jared.
I'm depressed. Michigan lost.
I think that's why you're doing this game. I think I dove into this game grossed me out so bad. And I don't know how the Bears could be favored by 6 against anybody, but guess what? I'm in. I'm seeing one team, the Bears show up every week. They're number 1 in sack percentage on defense. That doesn't go away. They've had Mack out almost all year, Hakeem Hicks in and out of the lineup. It doesn't matter. They still put pressure on the quarterback. The Giants, I don't even know what they're putting out there on the field right now. It's horrible. They have no run defense. The Bears can run the football. Dalton actually, I can't say, I don't want to sit there and
Don't say it because if it's on tape if you say it.
No, what I was going to say was they actually show a little life with Dalton, a little bit on offense. I've seen. I'm hoping. I don't have any other reason other than the Bears can run the ball. The Giants can't stop the run. The Bears can pressure the quarterback. The Giants don't have a quarterback. I'm going Bears. We're looking at a nice 23-6, hopefully easy win. Hopefully
14-5.
It grosses me out. I can't believe I'm doing this
Here's
game.
the thing, Jim. I'm right there with you. The line opened at 4, now at 6. There isn't much ground necessarily left to cover that hasn't been already for this game, right? Like the Giants are in shambles without Daniel Jones. They've scored more than 10 points. They've scored once. They scored more than 10 points just once in 4 games without him. Jake Braun was incompetent in the team's latest blowout loss. The combination of him and Mike Glennon that we're probably going to see on Sunday. I think it's Mike Glennon. I don't even know if Jake Fromm's going to be playing, but that's even less inspiring for me. Taking the Bears at home, laying less than a touchdown against an offense that has not been able to get going at all. The Bears aren't necessarily good on offense either, but they do have a big defensive advantage here, I think. Top 10 defense shuts down the Giants. Offense does just enough to cover. I don't know. I'm sick even betting this game, but you know what? We're doing it. We're taking Bears laying the points, and we're going with it. We're sticking with it, my friend.
I thought for sure I was going to be. I thought I was going to be the only one. I thought both you guys would be like, "Get out of here! What are you doing?"
I know. Honestly, I hate myself for taking that, but you know what? It's okay. But we'll move on to the next one. The Eagles taking on the team. Go team, my friends. But not tonight because I'm taking Eagles laying the points. Jared, I know you're on the same page as me. Why you got the Eagles?
Yeah, so these are teams that are very much trending in opposite directions. This line's all the way up to 6. So funny thing about the NFL, we were talking about a little bit before we came on. The NFL markets are becoming bet early, then don't bet at all, and then bet very late. Because the Sunday morning limits, when they increase, usually the sharps are kind of already positioned by then. But I think because of all the COVID stuff and the uncertainty, everyone's telling me that the overall handle isn't down at at all these games, but it's just the timing of the handle is being weighted more towards the back end of the week. And we're seeing that again this morning. This Eagles line steamed up to 6 at pretty much every shop almost across the board. I see 1.5 still available. But the look at here was 3. It was 3.5 most of the week. Washington got blasted last Sunday. Obviously, it's a bounce back spot for them. It's kind of a letdown spot for the Eagles, who've been playing really well. But when you look, it's impossible to call anything a letdown spot at this stage. And when you look at the advanced weighted metrics, which is how well you've been playing lately, these teams could not be on polar opposites further. Washington's one of the worst teams moving the ball over their last 3 weeks, 29th in EPA per play. Meanwhile, the Eagles are 3rd. So I see Philly's offense really continuing to be aggressive here. I like what Nick Sirianni's done. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be a problem when Washington faces teams with running quarterbacks. They gave up 43 points to the Bills. They gave up 31 to the Chiefs. They gave up 27 to the Eagles 2 weeks ago, and that was the Eagles turning it over 2 times. I think the Eagles probably should have gotten into the 30s in that game, and I think they will get into the 30s today. Overall, defensively, Philly's going to be stacking the box because, I don't think Washington's going to beat them over the top. Heineke was awful last week. 33rd out of 34 quarterbacks. The only quarterback that played worse than Taylor Heineke last week was Ian Book. So I think, to me, this is a mismatch on both ends, and I think I'd play the Eagles all the way up to 7. This is probably my best bet of the entire week. I got Philly minus 3.5.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Would you still bet it at Eagles laying 6?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a best bet. If I did, a unit at or unit and a half at, Eagles minus 3.5, maybe go a unit or, 3/4 of a unit. I would decrease accordingly as the line gets closer to 7. But I think Philly blows them out. I really do.
Yeah, totally. I also locked it in a couple days ago at the Eagles laying 3.5. I would still bet it at the Eagles laying 6, but this is one of the ones that, COVID has wreaked havoc on the Washington football team. And even though they're getting guys back, at the same time, you look at some of these guys coming out of COVID protocols, they're not in good shape. They're not in good conditioning. Your lungs are going to be absolutely on fire. So even though you have big names back and good players back, you're still going to be at a disadvantage because of getting into conditioning, not being able to work out, not being able to do that stuff. We've seen it in every single sport so far. And then you look with the Eagles. I think the Eagles are, I've thought the Eagles are a playoff team since the beginning of the season. Kind of trailed off a little bit towards week 5 through 7, and now I'm back on the Eagles as a playoff team. They run the ball on everyone. Washington's defense is hurting right now. I don't think this game is going to be necessarily as one-sided as 2 weeks ago. But I do think that the Eagles are going to get better and better as the game goes on, especially because of that conditioning aspect with the Washington football team, with guys coming back from those COVID protocols. I think this is the game where Philly's going to wear down a depleted roster over 4 quarters, win by a touchdown or more. The Eagles, I mean, what was it? Like they beat them by 10 points at home, ran for 240-ish yards a little while ago. I think, going to Washington's not going to be a problem for them because you look at what the Eagles have had. They're well rested. They've barely traveled in the second half of the season, and they can smell the playoffs, right? Playoffs right around the corner. So I like the Eagles laying all the way up to probably 6.5, 7 in this one too. I did lock them in at laying 3.5.
One note I have to close this one. I saw last week Washington. There's a great tweet out there by one of the Cowboys beat reporters that the Washington defense, one of the defensive players, quote, saying this to Amari Cooper during the game: "Y'all need to slow this down. I'm tired." When the Cowboys are running their up-tempo offense.
Yes.
And Philly had to have seen that. And Nick Sirianni, right, Jim? Like, you see that, and what's your first snap, like your first drive of the game? I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles run tempo. Just go on the ball. Let's go.
It's a bad matchup. Washington is depleted right now. It's a bad matchup for them. This game almost scared me too much. Like I'm with you guys. I don't see how Washington competes. I don't.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat. Josh Helm, someone in the chat talking about Terry McLaurin over 50.5 receiving yards. Jim, what do you think on that?
I feel like you could go under there. The Eagles' pass defense is outstanding. They don't give up big plays. Heineke struggles throwing down the field. I think that's a good bet on an under. I think you could take a shot there.
50.5 is low. Man, everyone in the chat hates our Eagles pick. Well,
I think people just hate the Eagles, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, possible. I don't know. Like it's like similar to Lions fans. Like, you love them, but you also hate them at the same time. Like, one of my best friends is an Eagles fan. He's like, I hate this team more than anything. Like, you also love this team more than anything too.
Yeah, you love them.
Yeah. Eagles 5-3 against the spread on the road.
Boston Scott's the running back. If Miles Sanders is out today, I saw Howard's going to play. So Howard's in, Boston Scott's in. They're going to be fine with the running. That's the pushback here. No running backs for the Eagles. I'm sorry, Kessler Davis, but I don't think running backs are going to be a difference in this game.
Even if Miles Sanders is out, like, the scheme is what's going to be the star.
Boston Scott is the touchdown prop I'd want today.
Lauren's right too, though. Jalen Hurts is a big reason they run the ball so well too. Like, you're right, John.
So even with Miles Sanders out, scheme is going to be the star. I think the Eagles are still going to roll in this game. All right, let's take it to Cincy because I do love myself some Skyline chili, but I also love myself taking the Bengals and the points plus 4.5. I also sprinkled the money line in this game. Neither of you guys are on this game. Why, Jim?
It's too good of a game.
It's a great game.
Yeah,
I like the Giants-Bears games. Yeah, I like the Giants-Bears. I'm not messing with this game.
No, well, Jim has a point because you bet the games that no one else bets. It's where you get the best lines. So my analysis for this game is 2 really good teams. Period. End of story. Like the offenses, top 10 EPA per play since week 10. Defenses, both units, top 10 in EPA per play since week 10. Back half of the season, these are 2 top teams on both sides of the ball. The one edge that I would give to the Bengals here, the Chiefs are really bad at stopping the run. So if you're Steve Spagnuolo, how do you stop this Bengals defense? Do you back up in zone and you make Burrow go nicks and cuts and 5 to 10 yard little out routes all day, and then you take away the big explosive play? Well, that's going to open up Joe Mixon in the running game. Do you put that extra man in the box with Sorensen, and do you allow Joe Burrow to maybe get some one-on-ones on the outside with Higgins and Boyd and Chase? That's a little more dangerous, but it might be the more aggressive way to stop the run, because the Chiefs are 29th in run success rate since week 10. So this is a kind of a tricky spot for Spagnuolo defensively. And on the other side, the Bengals defense, they've been playing pretty well. And I am fascinated to see how the Bengals defense matches up against this Chiefs offense with Kelsey back. They haven't been great against the tight end.
Agreed.
This could be an AFC Championship game preview. It really could. Everything's on the line for Cincy. They win the division for the first time in like 6 years. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
That's what my thinking is. It's like, again, never underestimate the value of motivation, right? Because if they win, they clinch a playoff berth. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. Patrick Mahomes back. Actual people suggesting that the NFL figured out Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid's offense. I don't think so. But at the same time, like, you look at what Mahomes has been able to do, completing 73% of his passes, averaging like 310 yards per game. And he has 8-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio over the last 3 games, which is pretty good. But I think, me personally, might be sleeping on Joe Burrow's breakout season. I think the public might be too. He's coming off of a torn ACL. Dude just threw for like 525 passing yards during late December AFC North game. And I know Travis Kelce is back, and maybe the moment is a little bit too big for Cincy, but I don't think the moment's going to be too big for Joe Burrow. I like Cincinnati and the points here. +4.5 is what I locked it in at, but I also sprinkled the money line in this game. This is more of a lean for me than like an actual, lock bet, but I do have a really good feeling about the Bengals here in this spot. Motivation, playoffs, similar. They can smell it, right? They can smell it.
I'll add one more thing. The Bengal, and this actually, when I saw this note, I was actually surprised. But the Bengals have faced the easiest schedule of defenses of any team in the NFL this year.
All season.
The whole season. And they're kind of, their offensive efficiency is not in the, like, they're kind of like high of the top of the top teams. They're like the lowest tier. So they're not like the best, so their offensive efficiency is solid, but they face the easiest schedule of defenses this year. And the Chiefs defense has been playing really well. I'm not saying that the Chiefs defense has had their moments where they've given up big plays and big yards, but that's something to keep in mind too when we get to the playoffs, because the best defenses are, they tend to be in the postseason. So I think that this is a tough spot for Cincy. I probably wouldn't bet them today, but I definitely think that's something to keep in mind when they manage up in defenses. Can they beat a team today that I think is the best team top to bottom in the NFL?
And if they can, they're going to prove a lot of people wrong if they do. They're going to prove a lot of people wrong.
Yeah. And, the fact that the Chiefs are laying this many points on the road tells you that the books think Kansas City's going to win this game. And Kansas City needs this game, too, to win that first-round bye, which is huge. That's motivation, too, for Patrick Mahomes and a very veteran Kansas City team. So, great game. Awesome game. I can't wait to watch it.
It's going to be really, really exciting. Definitely not my best bet of the day, but I am leaning. I did sprinkle the money line, because guess what? If it does hit, that's going to be a good little payday. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what? Okay, let's move on. Dolphins taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans just continue to find ways to win games, even though after Derrick Henry went down, they just continue to win. Jared, you're on this game, but you're not betting a team. You're betting a total.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I think I'm 10-20. I haven't checked my records. 10-20 betting totals this year. I'm not kidding. That's a real record.
You know what? The 31st time is the charm, is what I've heard. So
I mean, listen, I'm all about that. That was part of my New Year's betting resolutions: transparency and accountability. I have not had a good year betting totals in the NFL. Miami's had a great second half of the year, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. During that span, Tua is 5th amongst all quarterbacks in EPA per play. Jalen Waddle's a big reason why. How good was Jalen Waddle against the Saints the other night? He has changed. It's kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Is Tua playing well because of Jalen Waddle, or is Jalen Waddle playing well because he's got his college quarterback with him? It's an interesting kind of symbiotic relationship between those two guys. The Dolphins' offense is so much better with Jalen Waddle. EPA per play defensively, the Dolphins have the best defense in the league analytically over the last 8 weeks. That's how good they've been playing defensively. I think the Titans' offense trending downwards is the big thing to look at here. Now, this is a revenge game for Ryan Tannehill. Frankly, I don't think anybody but Ryan cares about it at this point because all the guys on the Dolphins probably weren't even there when he was playing for Miami. But they did give up on him, and this is the revenge, stick it up your tuchus kind of game for Ryan Tannehill. So I could see Tennessee playing with a lot of fire, especially offensively, but no Julio Jones. And again, their offense trending down, 25th in EPA per play since week 10, 18th overall. So they were a middle-of-the-pack team already going into the year, throughout the season, and then they're trending down. So that's not a good thing. And obviously the reason why is Derrick Henry. And the Titans defense has been playing really well too. Very consistent this season, basically middle of the pack throughout the entire year, despite the fact that they've had a lot of shuffling, COVID. Mike Vrabel's had a lot of situations with that defense this year, but they've been very consistent. I think this is going to be a close to the best game. And the final nail in the coffin for the under for me, did you guys watch the Music City Bowl the other day when Purdue and Tennessee were slipping all over the field? And I know that was a high-scoring game, different tempo than this game's going to get played at. Yeah. But it just – I think there's going to be some weather in Nashville today, and the field conditions aren't great, and this is going to be a tight, contested playoff kind of wild card atmosphere. I could see this one being really low scoring.
Yeah, I actually am taking the Titans laying 3 in this spot at home. The Titans offense kind of tanked. I mean, we all know since Derrick Henry went down, but they keep finding ways to win, right? Yeah. I'm kind of convinced that Mike Vrabel might be a top 10 coach and just no one wants to give him the credit for the job that he's doing right now. He just finds ways to win football games. I think his worst season was like 9-7 in 4 years so far with the Titans. But now you look at Ryan Tannehill. He's been great off extended buys. I think, again, this is going to be a place for him, Jared, like no one else cares, but Tannehill cares about this. Tannehill cares about going back up against the Dolphins. They kind of like left him out to dry. He's going back up against his former team. And I think that the Dolphins are about to face a real quarterback in him. I see the Titans rolling here. And stats for you, because I love when the stats favor me. Titans are 5-3 against the spread at home this season so far. So boom, Titans roll. I think they're going to cover by way more than 3.
Wow. Way more than 3. That Dolphins defense is playing really tough.
That's what scared me away. I like you figured the Titans are going to come back. They have to look better on offense here, especially getting ready for this playoff push.
No Julio Jones today.
Well, and he hasn't been.
He's been a shell of his former self.
But
they need AJ Brown. But what it does is it lets Rhodes play one-on-one with Brown. Like it cuts the field in half a little bit.
Miami gets after the quarterback. They're 5th in sack percentage, and Tennessee is 29th on offense protecting Tannehill. That scares me. Whenever you're looking at, I hate whenever a team can't protect. That would concern me, Lauren. This game, I want no part of because I just see this game being very evenly. The under makes a little sense to me.
Yeah.
Just because it does have that little like even, just punch back and forth type game.
I'll add this too. Titans are getting back the left side of their offensive line, Saffold and Lewan. That's going to help. Dolphins bring pressure. They bring heat. This year, Tannehill has 10 turnover-worthy throws when pressured. That's the most in the league.
Ooh.
Like I'll be honest. The later in the year we get, the data.
To be honest with you,
the advanced metrics guys that we get later in the year, they're sexy. It is. I'm a numbers guy. You know me. It is. Sexy.
I am too. Yeah. There's numbers that matter. There's stats that matter. There are.
Yeah. All right, let's take it to Baltimore because Jim, you're on this game. The Rams taking on the Ravens. The spread right now is at 6. You are on the Ravens, plus 5.5. You locked it in. It looks like Tyler Huntley is going to be starting at quarterback for the Ravens this week.
Another game I hate myself already for taking. I guess this is how I'm entering this week. I'm just feeling like, you know what? I've had a really good week. I think I just wanted to make today a little more challenging. I want to
go for it, Jim.
Yeah, I want to take some of the grossest.
Screw it. No risk it, no biscuit.
The Ravens defense stinks. They can't stop anybody. The Rams are unstoppable on offense. So, of course, the Rams should be favored by 10. It's not. It starts early. I'm like 5. Now it's up to like 6.5, which I get. Like, Jared, you did a good job explaining these Sunday surges are just insane.
Yeah, once the limits go up Sunday morning, the sharps show their hands.
That's interesting. That's good to know. But anyway, this could be – Huntley is going to play. The Ravens do play well with him. It's a tough matchup for the Rams as far as the Ravens are they're a well-coached team with a lot of good players that have pride. I'm looking for the pride thing today, Jared. We've been talking about bowl game pride and who has pride and motivation. This could be, could you sneak on the Rams today where you might not get their best game at an early East Coast start against a team that is pretty much out of it? Do the Rams kind of struggle a little today? Baltimore gives your best effort. That's what I'm counting on. Run the ball, keep the score low, cover that points. Use those 6 points.
I think I'm a little. I'd be wary to lay it. I'd be wary to take it with. I'd be wary to take to lay 6. But man, Baltimore's just shown me nothing. They got absolutely worked by the Bengals offense last week.
Why do you think this? Why did this spread start? I can't figure out. I thought for sure this would be a 7.5 to open.
I agree, yeah. and I think that's why early in the week you did see the line. Well, also again, we had a lot of quarterback issues for Baltimore, so I think the smart money probably waited, and the line just kind of opened where it was last week.
Okay.
And we didn't see any significant movement off of, I think it was a 3.5 look ahead. And we didn't see any significant movement off of that. Now here, as we get closer to Sunday, you know, we saw the buildup on the Rams and then boom, it shot up to 6. And probably going to close close to 7. Here's the issue that I see with the Ravens. So no Lamar Jackson, he's not playing today. Well, yeah, I mean, I saw him limping around the practice field the other day. Forget about it.
That's not happening.
Yeah. So it's Huntley after a week off. With COVID and the situation, you know, it's just I think it's going to be. I don't think he's going to show you what he was. He was in a rhythm those last couple of weeks, and then he missed the game, and now I would imagine he's out of a rhythm. But when you look at the Rams defensively, that's where I think this game changes for me. They've been playing so well on first downs. They are the best team in the league, allowing a league low 4.7 yards per play on first downs. That means Tyler Huntley's going to be in 3rd and long. And I think that favors the Rams front with Miller and Donald just getting after the quarterback. So I think this is a tough spot for Huntley. And on the other side, Joe Burrow's phenomenal. The Bengals have awesome weapons. Guess what? So do the Rams. You know, Odell and Cooper Kupp, who might be the MVP of the league that no one's talking about. You know, so I just think this is a bad spot for the Ravens defensively. And unless Tyler Huntley can pull rabbits out of his hat like he did against the Packers a couple weeks ago, I just don't see them keeping this close. Now, he could do that, but that's going to be the only way that I see a path to the Ravens covering this. If Tyler Huntley plays out of his mind like he did the last couple weeks, and I don't know if he can.
So, I mean, is there anything better than gambling that I'm sitting there convincing myself that Andy Dalton's going to play well today? I'm hoping Huntley plays well, but I don't want to bet on the Chiefs-Bengals game because why would you want to take Mahomes or Burrow? Why would you want to do that? Let's put your money on Huntley and Andy Dalton.
I mean, it's okay. True gambler spirit, Jim. True gambler spirit.
I love it, Jim.
I'm in.
All right, let's head up to Indy because there's been a few big games, couple big games now coming up in Indy. Raiders at Colts. The line right now, -8, -8.5. And for me, picking this game all depended on the status of Carson Wentz, right? Which did until this morning remain completely TBD, now officially cleared to play. But the new protocols, they're new. Guys, I mean, I was reading and I took the quote from it. May return if no fever for 28 hours, other symptoms improved, cleared by team physician after consultation with NFL CMO.
Sounds like a Cialis commercial, the disclaimer at the end.
Yeah, and in some cases, death. It's like, what? Like,
in some cases,
like, death.
But
only call your doctor if you have extreme flatulence. Yeah. Like it's like ridiculous.
The protocols are so new, which it is nice that players are able to get back and play sooner.
Agreed.
But again, it's just so like.
And you know, teams are going to be taking advantage of it, and I'm sure players are not going to be self-reporting their symptoms on game day of the playoffs.
Yes.
Like. It is what it is, though. These guys, they get paid all this money. We need to see them on the field. They should be taking every possible avenue under the new regulations that the CDC has recommended to get on the field. I'm for it.
That's what I was going to say. If I were a betting man, I would assume that Wentz was going to return.
Wentz is playing today.
Based on now we know
the market has told us Wentz is playing
today. But are we all staying off of this game? Because for me, not knowing Carson Wentz's status heading into this morning, it was kind of a stay away spot for me. Jim, how about you?
Yeah, I wasn't going to mess with it either, especially the Raiders run defense showed up against Denver last week. which kind of pushed me away a little bit because the Colts obviously are so good at running the ball. But if you give me Wentz, now that we know Wentz is back, the Colts are playing really well. The Raiders, I still don't see much in them. But it's still a stay away game for me. I don't like the game. I don't like this spot considering the Raiders did play so well last week against Denver, which tells me that they're playing with some life right now. So I'm staying away from it.
It's a good
Jared,
teaser spot, I think.
Okay,
now that
I
it's
like
got
that.
so it was at 6.5 earlier in the week. Then the Carson Wentz news broke. It jumped to 2.5 because it was going to be Ellinger. And I'll be honest, if it was 2.5 with Ellinger, I would have just played the Colts straight up. And then, you saw the line drift back to 6.5. And then once Carson Wentz got confirmed, 7.5. Now it's at 8. Perfect teaser spot. That's the Wong teaser window between 7 and 8.5.
Yeah.
Move that thing down to 2. Love the Colts in a teaser this week. I will give the Raiders credit. How about this? 9th in run success rate this season, 4th since week 10. The Raiders have one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL over the last half of the year.
Last half, yeah.
So say what you want about Carson Wentz and, the Jonathan Taylor, how good he has, and he's been tremendous. The Raiders have stopped the run pretty well. Now, I haven't dug into against which running backs those are against.
No,
I would be willing to bet that it's not as strong as Taylor, but they've played some pretty decent teams. They played the Broncos last week, and the Broncos.
That's what I said. They did a good job against Denver. Yep.
Now the Colts rush defense is actually going in the opposite direction. 32nd in run success rate since week 10. The Colts are the worst run defense in the league since week 10. Now they're getting Darius Leonard back. That's huge.
Huge.
And I don't know. I know the Raiders have given you a little bit of life, but I think overall I'm down on them.
I am too.
I think maybe Josh Jacobs props is a good angle if you want to bet the Raiders side here because of the Colts' inability to stop the run the last half of the year. But if game script says they're behind, then that prop becomes null and void. So I would probably either tease the Colts or stay away from this game completely.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this game. The game that you're not staying away from, Jared. Bold prediction. Texans taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Let's head out west to the Pacific Ocean. Trey Lance starting for the 49ers. The spread right now, San Francisco laying 13. You like them in that spot.
Yeah, if the game was played in the Pacific Ocean, I don't know who I would like. Play it on an aircraft
carrier. I never heard that. I like
Pacific
that.
Ocean, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I meant. They're playing in the Pacific
I love you,
Ocean.
Lauren. I honestly do.
Really exciting game.
So Jimmy G to Trey Lance is worth about 2 points on the betting line, 15 to now 13. Chew on that one, and I guess it makes sense, but I know Jimmy G's had his issues, but I don't know. I would maybe give Jimmy the full field goal there. But that being said, this is a bad spot for the Texans. So first, I'll give you the good for Houston. This is, I think, this tweet.
I scheduled this. The ugly, Jared. Good.
I scheduled this tweet to go out at 11:15, so you guys are going to get it first. This is my favorite stat of the week. You ready for it?
Yes.
Davis Mills leads the NFL in red zone passing efficiency.
Outstanding stat.
Go figure. Better than Brady. Better than Mahomes. Better than Rodgers. Red zone passer rating. Davis Mills leads the NFL. I don't know. I can't explain it. Here's what I can explain. The Niners run D has been playing really well. Yeah. They are not going to allow Rex Burkhead to do what he did last week against the Chargers. I promise you that. The Texans defense trending down in a big way. 28th in run success rate since week 10. What do the Niners like to do? Run the ball. Trey Lance started a little earlier this year, very early in the year. It's his rookie season. He hasn't gotten a ton of reps. He got thrown into the mix because of the Jimmy G situation very early on. There was no Kittle in that game. Brandon Ayuk was a shell of his former self. Elijah Mitchell was on a snap count. Deebo Samuel hadn't ascended to the running back role that he has now taken over and just become this dynamic player. This is going to look like a much different Niners offense than what we saw in Trey Lance's first start. I think this is a great spot for him, and I think he is going to feast against this Texans defense today. Davis Mills might keep this close, and the back door might be open, but I think we saw the best of the Texans last week, and I think we might get their worst this week, especially on defense.
We got a question in the chat. Jack Harrison in the chat asking about
Jack.
I know. The one and only Jack Harrison asking about.
He hasn't shown up for work in like a week.
Renfro anytime touchdown at plus 195. I know he's just missing us.
Jack loves Renfro. He loves
it's
Hunter
hard
Renfro.
not to.
Yeah.
Jack is the Hunter Renfrow of Pickswise. Just, gritty, makes all the plays, goes about his job, very quiet, unassuming.
So wait, you're saying
always
Jack
is there for you in the clutch?
Wait, is Jack a really good route runner?
Maybe. He's a great producer. I'll give him that.
Jack, yes. Renfrow, anytime touchdown, plus 195. Lock it in right now. Lock it in. Lock it in. All right, let's head south. Still on the Pacific Ocean. We'll just take it down about a 6-hour drive from San Francisco to LA, where the Broncos are taking on the Chargers. The line in this game, 7.5, over under 45. The Broncos did cancel their practice on Thursday because of COVID concerns. Jim, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I'm all over this Charger team on this one. I think this is where they get right. That Denver team, I got burned by Denver last week. So usually when I get burned by a team, I don't like to go against them again. But this Denver team showed me nothing last week against the Raiders. They're now depleted. They have lost a lot of quality guys. Both their running backs are questionable in the injury report, whether or not I'm sure they're going to play. But that still tells you that they have stuff going on. Drew Lock struggles. He just struggles making plays consistently, keeping drives going. The Broncos are terrible on third down defense. The Rams are outstanding on third down offense. I love that for a game where they can just get on offense, score points, and cover this number. I don't see Denver keeping up with them today.
Yeah, this is all COVID here, right?
That's what I'm saying. COVID hit Denver really hard.
It hit. It's real. I think you got to pay attention to it.
Wild card game. Yep. I look at this game and I like, my heart is telling me to take the under, but that's always kind of like alarms going off when Drew Lock is involved in a game like that. So I probably lean towards the Chargers. I was leaning towards the under. But yeah, this is a stay away spot for me. Jared, are you on this game at all?
This is a teaser leg. So we gave you the Colts as our first. So I had a strategy this week where we do the best bets column and Dan Posner was nice enough to give me an extension this week. Usually we post it on Thursdays. But I was like, Dan, I can't bet these. I mean, it's just there's so much uncertainty, and there's no Thursday night game, so we posted it Friday. And even by Friday, I still felt a little uncertain with the Carson Wentz situation, and also the Broncos situation was just kind of developing on Friday. And now that we got to Saturday night, and it's now Sunday morning, the line moved to the Chargers past 7 to 7.5, and it turned into just a gift teaser leg. We got the Colts from 8 to 2. And now the Chargers from 7.5 to 1.5. And again, that kind of speaks to the way that these markets are developing, where early in the season, I was very early with my betting, and we've talked about it on the show many times. Now, as the season has gone on, I've adjusted my strategy, and now I'm weighted a little more towards betting my sometimes bigger bets on Saturday night, Sunday morning. And this is a 2-unit teaser here. Chargers and Colts, and everything Jim said about the Broncos defense is spot on. And the bounce back appeal for the Chargers on offense is certainly there. I will caution bettors with the Chargers defense being just a shell of its former self. 23rd in EPA per play this season, 24th since week 10. So they're trending slightly down. And over the last 4 weeks, they've given up 118 points. So they need to bounce back. The Chargers defense needs to play better.
I'm just hoping Denver's offense is below average with all those guys out.
Below average.
This is more of a fade on Denver, I think, than a play. It's a play off of Denver than a play on the Chargers.
Agreed.
But the Chargers also are coming off their ugliest loss of the year, and they're fighting for the postseason. So I expect their best stuff today, whereas we probably shouldn't expect Denver's best stuff. So it's kind of that momentum, trending in other directions, and we get the teaser through 3 and 7 in a medium total game, 45-46. So I think this is Chargers and Colts 2-unit teaser. I locked it in last night. I updated the best bets column and I tweeted it out this morning. I think that's probably my favorite teaser of the week.
Yeah. Okay. I want you guys right now really quick to grab your sriracha, grab your Frank's Red Hot, because we got a spicy game going on in Dallas. The Cardinals taking on the Cowboys in Dallas. The spread right now, Dallas laying 6.5. It's going to be spicy in this one. But I see that neither of you guys are betting this game, and neither am I, because I just want to watch this one and enjoy it. I want to watch this one and enjoy it. I'm going to eat my wings and dip them in my Frank's Red Hot. That's all I got to say about that.
You got the Southern accent going too. Jim, give me your thoughts on this one, and I'll run through what I think of this game after. I'm curious what you think of Arizona's bounce back appeal this week.
Well, Lauren just did herself a favor by mentioning Frank's Red Hot up here in Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
Do not bring
Brownie
up
points with the
sriracha.
Bills
Do not
fans.
bring up sriracha in Buffalo. That is a no-no. They don't want to hear it.
It's okay. Sriracha has an extra R in it that shouldn't be there. It's like Sriracha. My mom calls it Sriracha. I'm like, Mom, that R is silent. Like, you just don't pronounce the R between the S and the I. Like, you just don't do it.
But sriracha actually has a dry rub. If you like dry rubs and not,
Ooh.
that
Jim's
is
speaking my
actually
language
really
now.
good for this. Yeah, if you don't want to get the moisture of the hot sauce.
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
I look at a game like this one, though. I kind of want to fade the Cowboys because of the big flex spot on Sunday night, but they've also got every single person on their roster basically rested after a blowout win, right? I don't know,
True.
Jared. What do you think about this one? I just think this is too many points for a rested, capable NFC opponent fighting for the division right now.
Jared, this
All
is
right.
tough for you because you've been.
Okay, yeah, we're rubbing the hands, creating some.
I know because he's been down. Arizona was his squad. Now you were a little upset
But you
with them.
still have a future bet on Arizona, don't you?
Yeah, so the way I played Arizona this year, preseason, if you've been following along the columns all year, 44-1 to win the Super Bowl, 1 unit, 7-1 to win the NFC West, 1 unit. And then midseason, though, we did advise to bet the Rams to win the NFC West as a hedge.
Yeah.
So I'm protected on the NFC West. I'll be honest, at this point, I don't feel very good about Arizona's chances. I think so. Listen, there are some interesting things about Cliff Kingsbury's past that just continue to haunt him. But first, let's talk about the Cowboys. First in EPA per play on defense this season.
Okay.
They are arguably the best defense in the NFL. When Gregory and Lawrence came back and it made Micah Parsons more of a flex kind of linebacker D-end, it turned him into this animal. Even when he was straight up rushing the passer this year, he was an animal. He's covering guys in the secondary, receivers. I mean, he's like Thanos. He's everywhere. I am blown away. I'm blown away at how good Micah Parsons is. The Cardinals, though, are the team that needs to be figured out. They're Jekyll and Hyde. Weeks 1 through 9, they led the NFL on offense and EPA per play, down to 18th now in the back half of the year. I mean, talk about a collapse. First half of the year on defense, second in EPA per play, down to 16th in the last half of the year. Talk about regression. Now, why is that happening? Well, James Conner, DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore, all out. That certainly doesn't help. On defense, J.J. Watt, Marcus Golden, out. Isaiah Simmons, who was their first-round stud linebacker, he's grading out as one of the worst in the league. At safety and line, they don't know where to play him, and he's not grading out well, according to the analytics nerds. So I don't know what's going on with this Cardinals defense other than just guys missing and not really filling the right pieces. But here is the kicker, guys. This is the part about Cliff Kingsbury that I am befuddled. Cliff Kingsbury, ready? You ready for this stat?
Let's hear it.
With the Cardinals, 15-5-1 in weeks 1 through 7, 8-18 week 8 onward.
Wow.
But it's not just with the NFL. How about this? You want to talk about digging deep? Go back to his time with Texas Tech. If you combine his time as a head coach with Texas Tech and the Arizona Cardinals, he's 42-20 in weeks 1 through 7, games 1 through 7. He's 16-43 game 8 onward.
Wow.
I have no idea how someone as bright as Cliff Kingsbury can turn into such a dunce the second half of every season he coaches in. I mean, Jim, can you explain that? It's not just the NFL. It's in college, too. It's remarkable.
That would be hard. You'd have to look at the opponents, especially in college.
Fair.
I mean, he was questioned by everybody. When he was hired, it was kind of just to coach Murray. That was the whole connection. But it wasn't like he had some great success as a head coach. I mean, in college. I mean, it wasn't like overwhelming where he is just ready to take the next step. It's been my whole concern with Arizona is he good enough? I hate watching their offense.
He's not. I mean, that's a big sample size. 42-20 weeks 1 through 7.
That's a lot of games.
That's like 60 games on both ends of the number. I mean, that's a big sample size.
And that's why I said we can't just anoint these quarterbacks that haven't even won a playoff game yet. Like there is a process that goes into winning playoff games and being a part. So they have to get in there and get through that. Like the Bills kind of experienced last year where they built.
That's why I think Buffalo's in good shape this year. Because they've been to the top of the mountain and they came up painfully short. I love betting on teams that lost in the conference championship game to make it back to the – because they were so close and they tasted it and then they didn't. I'll say this: Rodney Hudson's back at center for Arizona. That's huge.
big.
We saw the snaps with the Cardinals last week going all over the place. Kyler Murray looked like he was trying to field a ground ball at third base.
Yeah.
And I think Arizona's offense, to me, if they can move it on Dallas's defense, as we said, first in EPA per play this season. If Arizona's offense can move it today, I will have hope that they can do something on the back half, in the postseason perhaps. But if they do what they did against the Colts on Saturday, and just bumble it around and miss field goals and commit penalties and snap it all over the yard, this game could get ugly. And the Cowboys defense could really hamper down and, blow them out, easily cover the 6.
Yeah, totally. I know Cowboys, I think, are in a good spot here, playing at home in the second best stadium in the entire NFL, because the first best is definitely SoFi Stadium, which I still need to go there. Have either of you guys been to SoFi yet?
No.
I'm not an LA guy.
We should plan a team field trip though and go to a game there.
Well, the Super Bowl's there in a few weeks, so.
I mean,
but I already, trust me, I've already gone up that ladder and I got destroyed when I tried to make that request. Our marketing people it's not in the cards for us this year. Maybe next year is the answer that I got.
Okay,
we'll go
cool.
to the Super Bowl.
Sounds good. We'll table that for next year.
I'd love it though. Pickswise Radio Row takeover.
I know that'd actually be really, really cool. Something to think about. All right, let's move on to our Pickswise 3-star play of the day from Pickswise.com. Jared, I know there's probably quite a few 3-star play of the days, but give me one or two.
Hold please. As usual, I'm so caught up in the day. Well, our Pickswise play of the day actually contradicts one of your plays, but I'll give it out anyways. Wilsh, our buddy Andrew Wilshers, likes the Dolphins catching 3 in the hook. I know. How about this?
Titans laying 3, so
Chadwick Wetzel likes the Flames to beat the Blackhawks on the ice today. And Lock Mamba, which is my new favorite name on our site, one of our cappers' names is Lock Mamba, likes Michigan State laying 2 at Northwestern today on the college hardwood. Sparty.
I like it.
Maybe is a decent play for you. But head to Pickswise.com. I'm seeing some horse racing picks as well. The ponies are running today at Santa Anita. I know Jim loves that.
Pickswise hit
at Santa Anita.
Yeah, hit last night. Pickswise gave out. They hit a little pick 3 at Santa Anita. Hit that one.
I love betting the pony. If there wasn't so many other games going on, like during the pandemic, oh my goodness, Jim, that's all I did. I pulled up Gulfstream in Santa Anita.
It was on. Was the pony?
Was all that was on. It turned over a whole new. I've never appreciated horse racing like
100%.
It's a beautiful sport. They're beautiful animals. God, I love horse racing.
Agreed.
I've been to the Kentucky Derby 5 times, and it's like the best. Like
they are athletes. They are athletes. You say those horses, and they know what's going on too. They know exactly how good they are.
Totally. It's really cool. Okay, our best bets of the day, Jared. I'm going to start with you. You have a teaser for your best bet.
Yeah, we gave it out during the show. I'm not going to beat the handicap to a dead horse. Chargers, more of a fade on the Broncos here. And you're not going to beat a dead horse with the Colts. I guess that's a bad pun coming out of the horse racing segment, but it is
so bad.
But listen, that's the saying. What do you want from me? That's what the saying is. My mom used to give this great, this is a shout out to my mom. She's probably not watching, but I love you anyways. Anytime we would be on a long road trip and she had to go to the bathroom, she'd say, "I gotta piss like a racehorse." That's a saying she used to use all the time. It's like a old Jewish mother thing. But anyways, we're going with the Colts on a teaser leg paired with the Chargers. Colts from 8-2, Chargers from 7.5 to 1.5. Again, I'm not gonna go crazy with these caps. We went over them during the show. Scroll back to those respective games, but Carson Wentz in the Raiders. They've been playing well, but I think Indy needs this game more. And again, it's a fade at Denver because they are just decimated with COVID. I think the Chargers bounced back strong after that loss to the Texans. So Chargers and Colts teaser, 6-point teaser, laying 20 cents is the POD for me today.
I like it. Jim, who you got?
Well, Jared, obviously I think your teaser looks good because I love the Chargers today. I don't even need to tease it down. I'm taking a good quarterback, a good team coming off an embarrassing loss against a team that is destroyed like we talked about. Denver is COVID weakened. I'm not messing with them. Drew Lock versus Herbert. No, thank you. Chargers win. I think they cover. I don't like I wanted to make sure I got it at 7. I didn't, I hate that hook, but I feel good about it.
Yeah. I know in my play of the day goes against the Pickswise 3-star play of the day, but it's okay. I still feel really good about it. The Titans laying 3. Again, they just continue to find ways to win. I talked about it earlier in the show, but no matter what happens to them, they're winning. They're finding ways to win. I think they're going to be able to roll here. Ryan Tannehill going up against his former team. He has a little extra motivation, as though Jared said no one else is thinking about it besides Ryan Tannehill. But you know what? I think they're going to roll in this game. Titans by 1 million. That's
A million.
I like that. I'll do an alternate spread.
If I'm going to bet it, I'm going to bet it big, and I'm going to go all in. I'm going to go for it.
Alternate
Let's just
spread.
hope that they aren't more than 40 points scored in the game.
Yeah,
that's
Titans
right.
by 1 million, but not more than 40.
Yeah,
So.
Titans by
Figure that one
10.
out, before we
Curb
wrap
our
up the
enthusiasm
show,
here.
Before we wrap up the show, it is our friend Jim Monis's last day here at Pickswise. He took a job with the XFL Senior Director of Football Operations.
Big deal.
It's going to be such an awesome opportunity for you. We're so sad to lose you, but so excited for you in the future. And it's been so much fun working with you throughout these last 17 weeks. Seriously.
Guys, this has been the most fun I think I've ever had at a job. I mean, I've worked NFL, all these other leagues.
That's a nice compliment.
This is fun. Gambling is special to me. It goes way back to high school and college when I gambled not responsibly and caused a lot of people some headaches. And
Me too.
Any gambler that's done it a long time has caused people and their family or friends headaches. What this experience has done for me, especially meeting you guys and learning, the hashtag #BetBetter on Pickswise makes a lot of sense. There is a way to enjoy gambling, and you can do it responsibly and have fun with it. If you're trying to make this your living, I could not recommend it. I couldn't. But,
well, if you're trying to make it your living, you're watching the wrong show because we're not pros.
No,
we're here for entertainment and information.
Find a way to make it your fun part of your day. And I always tell people this: if you want to get into gambling, if you can't laugh at some of the ways you're going to lose, like when you go to bed at night and you just lost by a half point on a ridiculous play, if you can't laugh about it for a little bit, you're probably not. You shouldn't be cut out for it. Don't gamble. Just don't do it.
Totally. I mean,
it's a life lesson.
Yeah, seriously. I'm laughing my way home every single week betting the Lions money line, but you know what? I still continue.
You had a couple nice catches.
I was going to say, you're going to laugh to the good on that too. But no, I can't thank you guys enough. I've had a blast. Hopefully I make it back. Just like my man, I got to give one reality show. My favorite show is Siesta Key on MTV. And Alex, kind of one of the lead guys on the show, Alex, disappeared for a season. This past season, he wasn't on. He's going to be coming back. Don't count me out. You might.
First of all, it's the XFL. They're going to embrace gambling. Who knows? Maybe we'll be the official, show for the XFL at some point.
We're going to do some. We already talked. We're going to have some training.
XFL betting. I remember getting into it a couple years ago before the league kind of went under. Two things. First of all, we appreciate your insight. So I can gamble for 1 million years, and I will never have the amount of insider knowledge on what goes on behind the scenes as you do. And I always tell this to people that we bring on the show. Like, to me, the combination of knowing about gambling and knowing about how the numbers work and how the sharps kind of move the market accordingly, you combine that with know-how of the back end, the back of the house. You get the front of the house in the restaurant, the back of the house works in the front office, and how these coaches and GMs and executives shape the teams and kind of turn motivation into a thing. Like, to me, the combination of those two things is what makes us bet better. Yeah. And we could not have done that without you this year, man. So I appreciate the hell out of you, and I hope that you make it back, because I know you're going to do great with the XFL, but I hope that they let you come do some segments with us, because come NFL draft time, bro,
we got to talk.
I'm going to need you. I'll keep your number on speed dial.
Jim, it's seriously been so much fun. It's been so much fun working with you. We're so excited, though, for you in this new adventure. It's going to be such an awesome opportunity for you. And we wish you nothing but the best. We'll obviously stay in touch. We're friends. Come on now.
We're going to all hang out. We're going to have XFL. We'll have some strategy sessions where we need big dinners. We'll get
I want to see some training camp. I want to head to training camp and check out what's going on behind the scenes there, because I'll tell you what, the books aren't going to be spending a lot of time capping XFL games. So opportunities will be available.
Opportunities will be
available.
Count on it. That is it for us today, guys. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith, Jim Monis. I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck today and tonight. Lots of fun games, and best of luck to you, Jim. We're rooting for you. Yeah, and we'll be following your journey in the XFL. So excited for you. We'll see y'all tomorrow, guys. Let's get it. Let's bet it.